I think in the coffee industry, manpower is a big challenge, I would say, if you're running a specialty cafe or even if you're a Starbucks. A lot of people go into that industry because of the passion and the curiosity of wanting to know more.
I think one thing that most F&B are facing is actually a manpower crunch. Training people of diverse background, getting them to learn the same thing. The learning rates are different, their knowledge, where they come from is different. So how are we going to put them on the same context and getting them to train on the same level and giving the same level of output? I think that's the challenging part.
For Coffee is a social enterprise. We have three main parts of it. One is we hire persons with disabilities. We train them to be baristas, and they're basically the bulk of our workforce and the front face of For Coffee. Beyond that, we also import beans from the Asian region, so places like Laos, Thailand, China, Indonesia. And finally, as we do all this, we try to be as environmentally conscious as possible. So for us, when we train our baristas, we train them progressively, where they start off first with the cashier and until they reach a barista level where they're expected to produce good latte art, good foam, and a very good cup of coffee. Their aspirations is not much different from anyone else. Basically, they want to progress and see themselves progress in their work.
The training is part and parcel of delivering quality as well as standard products to the market. So for us, we deem training as an important aspect because this will basically empower our staff to be able to deliver the standard we have set for the company and for the products offerings that we want for the market. We are basically 3 generations of coffee people. The location in Stirling Road, we have occupied that space 30 odd years. The Q Grader Arabica certification is basically a program issued by the Coffee Quality Institute in the US. In this aspect, getting a Q Grader certification is very important because it helps us understand specialty coffee in a greater depth and allow us to be able to ascertain the right quality. We go through a very extensive training in assessing coffee from raw to roasted, putting a pointing system to it.
If you look back in the early 2000s, a big part of the growth of our specialty coffee space has a lot to do with competitions and exhibitions.
We run competitions for the World Barista Championships. We run 5 competitions in Singapore. One is the Singapore National Barista Championships, then we have Latte Art, we have Brewers Cup Tasters, and Coffee in Good Spirits.
And this is despite Singapore not being a coffee producing country. I think Singapore being this natural geographical hub, international expos and exhibitions are held in Singapore. It kind of gave that opening to a lot of our local businesses.
Throughout the years, a lot of our winners have gone on to open cafes of their own.
I think it's a very healthy, diverse competition scene in Singapore. Like whether in actual barista competitions or from cafe to cafe, everybody has a different way of doing things and they have different perspectives that they believe in. It comes out across as a way to show the customers that it's possible to do what they do daily in competitions and bring that back to their work as well. And it really helps to push everybody and everything forward. Which is why I think Singapore's coffee industry is a lot more exciting compared to a lot of other countries because here everybody has a lot of different ideas.
So what we wanted to do with this very neutral and grey and kind of essentially boring visual look of the space was more to let the customers focus on what they're drinking and what they're eating at the moment. More focus into the cup, into the plate, something for them to eat and drink, think more about that instead. So we want to have a more clear idea between us and the consumers, like what they're having, what they're paying for, and what they should be tasting in the cup. Same as with competition, we want to impress the judges, we also want to impress the customers that come in our shop.
Robotics is something which is new, but I think before we go to robotic baristas, we can go towards fully automatic espresso machines, right? Which has been around for 20 or 30 years at least, right? You just push a button and it gives you a long black, or cappuccino or a latte, right? Those fully automatic machines have improved throughout the years. And some of them give very good coffee. But of course, if you want to do latte art or something like fancy like that, it's kind of difficult to use a fully automatic machine, right?
Ratio is an F&B concept that takes all of the technology that Ross Digital produces for the F&B industry, and we're the first ones to always use it and essentially test the market out. So I guess it's not the attraction right here. We wanted to develop the fourth wave coffee machine. I think coffee players in general are traditionalists and purists. I think we were very lucky because as we were explaining to them what we are trying to do in terms of automation robotics, it is essential to enhance the coffee market, not actually remove away manpower. So I think they were very open to it, so that was how we started collaborating. And then we started having Jacob teach us more about how we can eventually use robotics to actually help the industry better.
It's more about robot learning, to mimic what, the day-to-day operations, what we do in the cafe itself, what the baristas go through every day. Just calibrate the coffee, understanding the technology, frothing the milk, getting the right texture, getting the robots to learn, how the arm moves.
So we really want to leverage off where humans are phenomenal at, and then bring in robotics where robotics are phenomenal at. So they're teaching a robot essentially how to move, how to tilt the cup, how to pull the milk. I think all those things are things that it's invaluable for us.
Robots are not new. They've been in the factories for 40 years, 30, 40 years. They've been building cars, building our laptops, right? But coffee is essential. That's something you need first thing in the morning, and you're looking for convenience, speed, consistency. And so that fits in really well with automation. Ella, our robotic barista, came about because I was trying to solve a big challenge in the retail F&B industry. Staffing was a challenge here in Singapore. It's a constant struggle to find talents, and then of course we do find talents, and then they come, but you train them and then they move on.
I think third wave, we talk a lot about putting passion and hard work into the coffee that we're trying to curate for the consumer. I believe for fourth wave, it's more of a complementary role rather than trying to revolutionize the entire processes or even the product itself.
On our end, for the fourth wave, what I'm hoping will happen is that we will start to shift away from the artistic and craftsmanship side of the coffee, or producing coffee, making coffee, and focus more on the processes and what goes on behind every cup of coffee, mainly to reduce the wastage so we can be a little bit more sustainable with how we use coffee.
The sustainability of coffee. A lot of us now, especially the younger people who are involved in coffee, are very aware that without the farmers growing coffee, we are not going to have coffee to drink at the front end, right?
And I think one thing to note is whether it's first wave, second wave, third or fourth, all these can coexist as one. You still would have your first wave instant coffee or your kopitiam coffees. Second wave as your chain coffees as a space where people just want to hang out as what we call the third space. And then third wave coffee, although not fully matured, there's a lot more room to grow. So whether we come to the fourth wave or not, there will always be that coexistence of the 3 or 4 waves.